Cars used to have features we still don't get today. 1965. Pontiac Bonneville today. Using a beautifully preserved 1965 Pontiac Bonneville with just over 8,000 original miles, we're taking a look at something modern cars still can't quite replicate: the sheer character, creativity, and craftsmanship of the features found in many American cars from the late 1950s through the 1960s and even into the 1970s. While modern vehicles are packed with technology, there are still plenty of thoughtful, quirky, and genuinely useful ideas from the past that quietly disappeared along the way. One of the most fascinating examples in this Bonneville is the optional reverberating radio. Back in the day, a radio itself was often an extra-cost option, and if you chose the premium setup in a car like this Pontiac, you got something far more interesting than just a simple speaker in the dash. The Bonneville's system included the normal front speaker, but also a rear reverberation speaker setup that could change the way the sound filled the cabin. You could listen with the reverb turned off, with the reverb on for a richer echo-like sound, or even use the rear speaker by itself. It was an old-school attempt at creating a more immersive listening experience decades before premium-branded sound systems became the norm. It's a wonderfully theatrical feature, especially when you realize the metal spring inside the unit continues to reverberate for a few seconds, even after the radio is shut off. Then there are the kinds of comfort features that simply don't exist anymore, or at least not in the same charming mechanical form. This Bonneville has the famous lower dash air vents, often nicknamed crotch coolers, which directed air not only through the main dash vents but also through vents positioned low in the cabin for a far more direct and surprisingly pleasant airflow experience. Combined with the Bonneville's early automatic climate control system, it made for a level of comfort that feels remarkably sophisticated for 1965. The climate control setup itself is a great example of how advanced some of these cars really were. It may not be digital, but it was still designed to automatically regulate cabin temperature long before modern climate control. Systems became common. The interior as a whole is a reminder of how much effort Pontiac put into making its flagship full-size cars feel rich and special. This dashboard uses real wood trim, not plastic made to look like wood, and it's paired with a steering wheel that also features wood, plus sculpted controls and a beautifully styled interior layout that feels more like furniture than transportation. Even the gear selector and turn signal stalk have a deliberate artistic shape to them. The door panels, headliner, seat trim, and color combinations all reflect a period when American automakers weren't afraid to give family cars genuine visual drama. Cars like this Bonneville weren't just built to move people around. They were built to make the journey feel special. Even small details stand out. The deluxe front seat belts, for example, were color-coded to match the interior and featured a beautifully designed buckle with the Fisher body logo. It's the kind of detail almost nobody would bother with today, but in 1965 it was part of the experience. The same goes for the loop pile carpeting, the rich textures, and the abundance of soft touch surfaces. The front armrest in this Bonneville is thick, wide, and heavily padded, a real comfort item designed for long highway trips. It's a small thing, but it says a lot about how these cars were engineered around comfort in a way that feels different from many modern interiors. Another feature that's easy to overlook until you see it in person is Pontiac's articulating windshield wiper system. Introduced on upper-level 1965 Pontiacs like the Bonneville, these butterfly or articulating wipers used a special linkage that allowed the blades to stay more parallel to the A-pillars at the edge of their sweep. In simple terms, they covered more of the windshield more effectively than a conventional wiper setup. It's the kind of clever mechanical engineering that rarely gets celebrated today, but it shows just how seriously automakers once took the challenge of improving visibility and function through smart design. There are also plenty of classic convenience touches that have mostly disappeared. This Bonneville has vent windows, those little triangular side windows that crank outward to direct fresh air into the cabin. Before modern HVAC systems became dominant, they were a simple and highly effective way to improve airflow, and many drivers still miss them today. There are also elegant reading lights, optional vanity and courtesy features, coat hooks, grab handles, and trim pieces that feel more decorative than merely functional. Even the lens covers for the interior lights have a level of style and detail that would be overkill in a modern car, which is exactly why they're so charming. The seating is another reminder of what full-size American luxury used to feel like. This Bonneville features the optional extra full-foam front cushion seat, which added even more softness to an already plush interior. The seats are broad, inviting, and clearly designed for comfort first, just as you'd expect in a mid-1960s full-size Pontiac. And under the hood, this car backs up its luxury with serious power, a 421 cubic inch V8 producing 338 horsepower, giving the Bonneville the effortless muscle to match its full-size presence. Of course, not every old feature deserves to come back exactly as it was. Some things disappeared for good reason, and modern cars are undeniably safer, more efficient, and more advanced in countless ways. But cars like this 1965 Bonneville are a reminder that we've also lost something along the way. Not just certain features, but a whole approach to design. Back then, automakers often treated everyday controls, trim, seating, and cabin comfort as opportunities to add beauty, character, and delight. Even practical items like radios, wipers, seat belts, and climate controls were given personality. That's really what makes this Bonneville so fascinating. It isn't just a preserved old Pontiac with a long list of obsolete features. It's a snapshot of a time when American cars were designed with a different philosophy, one that blended comfort, style, novelty, and craftsmanship in ways that modern cars rarely attempt. The reverberating radio, the vent windows, the automatic climate control, the articulating wipers, the richly detailed interior, and all those little touches of softness and style together create an experience that feels uniquely special. The 1965 Pontiac Bonneville reminds us that sometimes the best automotive ideas weren't always the most high-tech ones. Sometimes they were simply clever, beautiful, and human, and that's exactly why they're still worth appreciating today.